We often hear folks claim that the word rapture doesn't appear in the Bible, and therefore the rapture doctrine is false. Is this claim legitimate? No, this is actually a pretty lame argument. Men use arguments like this when they don't have real arguments. Now, I find three problems with this argument. First of all, it is irrelevant whether the word rapture appears in the Bible or not. The word Trinity doesn't appear in the Bible, and I'm certainly not prepared to forsake the doctrine of the Trinity because the word doesn't appear in the Bible. The fact is, men who are going to wield this argument are forced to pick. They have to pick between keeping their argument and keeping the Trinity. Sadly, error tends to be very inconsistent when it comes to the use of bad arguments. They know that consistency leads to fatality. If they're consistent with their argument, it's fatal for their position. Now, secondly, this argument is an argument from silence. It's an ill-conceived argument from silence. Now, an ill-conceived argument from silence is an argument that focuses on a minor detail like the absence of a word. We should be far more concerned about the substance of the Bible's teaching on a subject than the presence or absence of any detail, any minor detail, or the presence or absence of any word. We need to be concerned with the substance. The only time an argument from silence is well conceived is when it's complete absence of something that's very significant, that's very substantial, and its absence is surprising. For instance, the 400 years of silence was astounding when we consider that God had been speaking to the children of Israel, starting with the patriarchs and then down through the prophets, for over 1400 years. Now, if we're going to frame a legitimate argument from silence, it needs to bear some sort of resemblance to that argument from silence that God made. That's God's example of a legitimate argument from silence. Now, the third shortcoming that I find with this argument is that the word rapture actually does appear in the Bible. It appears the exact same way that words like angel, apostle, Messiah, Christ, baptism, and apocalypse appear in the Bible. The fact is, as angel is the English transliteration of the Greek word angelos, and apostle is the English transliteration of the Greek word apostolos, so rapture is the English transliteration of the Greek word harpazo. That is the word that is translated caught up in 1 Thessalonians 4:17. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so we shall ever be with the Lord. Now, the word rapture in English is derived from the Latin participle raptus, which is from the Latin verb rapio. Rapio and harpazo, the Greek word, are cognates. They have the exact same stem. Now, don't be fooled by the superficial differences between the Greek word harpazo and the Latin word rapio. The adzo on the end of harpazo is not part of the stem. It's just a common Koine Greek verb ending. And the rough breather, or the H at the beginning of harpazo, is not part of the stem either. Harpazo and rapio belong to a class of Greek and Latin cognates where Greek adds an H to the beginning of the stem, and Latin maintains the simple pure stem. Another example of this would be the Greek word histemi in the Latin sto. You see the histemi has the H at the beginning, and you also see that the me ending, it's a me verb ending, it's not part of the stem. So the Greek stem is stay, the Latin stem is sto, and the English stem is sta, which is where we get the English word stand in standard. So not only are harpazo and rapio cognates, they have the same meaning and usage. The three main usages are stealing, ravishing or raping a woman, and snatching loved ones or favorites out of harm's way. And you can see that the concept of stealing is actually integral to all of these. Stealing obviously is stealing. Ravishing or raping a woman is to steal her purity. And when you snatch someone out of harm's way, you are stealing victims right out of the clutches of harm. Now, I've seen this use myself of harpazo for people being snatched out of harm's way many times in Koine Greek. I've read it numerous times in authors like Apollodorus, where the Greek gods would come down and deliver their heroes out of harm's way. But I've also read it in, for instance, in Josephus, where parents, when General Titus and the Roman armies breached the wall of Jerusalem and were invading the city, the parents snatched up their children and ran for safety. So I've given you three reasons why I believe the argument that the word rapture doesn't appear in the Bible and therefore the rapture isn't in the Bible is an illegitimate argument. And the next time someone tries to illuminate you with the fictional factoid that the word rapture doesn't appear in the Bible, just point out to them kindly that the word rapture does appear in the Bible. It appears in the Bible the exact same way that angel and apostle and Christ and Messiah appear. It's simply the anglicized form of the Greek word harpazo. And it would be perfectly legitimate to translate 1 Thessalonians 4:17 in this way. Then we which are alive and remain shall be raptured up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so we shall ever be with the Lord.